Let's talk about how to win high-pressure conversations like a pro. Let me tell you about the time I almost cried in the boardroom. Picture this. I was fresh into my first major role. I was walking into a high-stakes strategy meeting, and I was with people who had titles that were longer than my resume. I had rehearsed my points in the mirror like I was auditioning for a Broadway show, but when the CFO looked at me and said, "That projection, well, that seems really ambitious." So my brain just hit the eject button. Cue the awkward silence, cue the inner panic, cue me questioning every life choice. But here's the thing. High pressure conversations, they happen to everyone. Whether you're negotiating a raise, pitching a product, dealing with conflict, or answering that one tough but brutally tough question in a meeting. The good news here is that you can train for them. Just like a muscle, your ability to stay calm, to stay clear and confident under pressure, it grows with the right tools. So by the end of this video, you will have 5 solid strategies to win in these high stress and high stakes conversations like a pro. So let's break it down, shall we? Let's reframe the pressure. Stress is not the enemy, but your perception of it is. In a 2013 Harvard study, participants who reappraised their stress response as helpful, so telling yourself, "This is helpful to me," instead of the other way around. Like example, "My heart racing is preparing me to really perform well." I know you're telling yourself some things that you feel like they're lies, but being on the positive side. That actually perform better in public speaking tasks than those who try to suppress their stress. And that was according to Harvard Business School study in 2013. So try this. Before a tough conversation, tell yourself, "My body is gearing up to help me focus." This subtle shift in mindset, it can make a major difference, because dealing with this stress or this fear of the stress or the fear of the conversation, it's all in our minds. So if we can somehow trick our minds, we can do this, right? A second tip is know your triggers. So if you ever felt your voice shake or your thoughts scatter, that's your amygdala hijacking the show, totally going at it, because it's natural. According to the American Psychological Association, when we're under a social threat, like confrontation or criticism, our brain triggers that fight or flight response. So what do you do there? You prepare ahead of time. You list at least 3 questions or pushbacks that you're likely to get asked, and rehearse your answers out loud. Practice doesn't make perfect, but it might make things more peaceful. So if you could come up with a few things that you're pretty sure you're going to get asked, nail it by practicing, writing it down, having an outline of how you're going to think through it, and that will get you to success. A third tip is use pause as a power move, but I think pause can be a power move in any situation. One of the best kept secrets of powerful communication in general is those people who communicate so well, they don't rush. Did you ever sit back and notice they're very calm, they speak very slow? That is the key, because that pausing is helping them really think about what they want to say in a positive way. But silence, it feels so awkward for most people, doesn't it? But in reality, that 2 to 3 second pause, it makes you seem more thoughtful, more confident, and more in control. So when you think about it, if you see someone that you feel like is really a good speaker or confidence, look at those tactics. Are they using them? I bet that they are. So a pro tip here is before answering a tough question, breathe, pause, and say, that's a great question. Let me think about how I want to respond. To yourself, of course. So think about it. And many times just stepping back and contemplating it, those people on the other side, they can see that you're thinking. So you're looking like you're more thoughtful too as you are trying to answer. So watch the room lean in and take that uncomfortable pause. A fourth tip is speak in anchors, not rambling. So under pressure, people tend to ramble. I know this was something I really needed to work on because when I felt stressed, I felt like I had to give all of the details. And most of the time, especially in a corporate environment, a work environment, or even with your family, they don't need to know the play-by-play. I know my husband always says to me, Jen, I do not need to know the play-by-play. So rambling is not a positive, but under pressure, I think some people just naturally do that. I'm guilty of it. So your brain is scrambling for safety, is scrambling for words, and then the words start to fall out of your mouth like waterfall, and you almost like don't even know what you're really saying. So instead, anchor your thoughts using this 3-part framework. The first part is acknowledge the point and the question. The second one is to bridge to your key message. And the third is deliver your insight. So break it down. Take that pause, take a few deep breaths, acknowledge, bridge, and deliver. So for example, you can say something like, I can see why that number raises questions. That's the acknowledgement, right? And then we're going to bridge by saying what's important to remember is that we're projecting based off of Q1 momentum, not flat year over year. Here's the breakdown. Boom, you have clarity and you have control of the conversation. And you look to be more trusted by the other person, especially if you're presenting in front of someone that is at a much higher level. It makes them have more trust in you that you know what you're doing. And a fifth tip is the stats don't lie. Practice works. In a 2021 study by the University of Chicago, people who practiced difficult conversations using a role play, they reported a 40% increase in confidence and a 35% improvement in actual performance. So yes, mock the conversation in your car. It's not weird. And you don't look weird. You're an elite thinker when you do that. Or you could try something. I know getting in front of the camera is really uncomfortable as well, but getting in front of someone and making sure you know what you're talking about is uncomfortable too, right? So utilize tools like Zoom or Teams that have like the free option and just go into a meeting and record yourself and practice that. Then you can see how well you're doing. You can see your body language, your tone, and just even your eye movements. Are you smiling? All of that stuff. So I use that all the time just to practice some things that are complicated and to see how I'm presenting to do a better job. So check that out. So some final thoughts here is the secret to conquering conversations under pressure isn't about having all the answers, because none of us do. It's knowing how to respond when you don't. So it's in the pause, it's in the prep, it's in the reframing, and it's in the belief that pressure doesn't have to break you. You have important information to convey. You are a smart person. You have so much to offer the world. But don't get stuck in your own head, because we all do. No matter how experienced we are, pressure can get the best of us. So the next time your palms get sweaty and your heart starts drumming a beat, remember, you're not nervous, you're ready. So now go out there and own the room. If you found this content valuable, please consider sharing, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you all in the next video.